All right, guys. So today I want to talk about Arsenal. Let's talk about Arsenal, my team, Premier League champions last season. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Arsenal over this summer, and a lot of it has been around some of the incomings, some of the possible outgoings as well. So I just want to give my opinion in terms of what I feel like Arsenal need to do to their squad to enable them to get to a place where they retain and have the strongest team possible to retain the league. So let's talk about it. So I'm going to go from back to front and just look at some of the players that are possibly going to be leaving and who I feel should be staying and where I feel that we can really upgrade or need to upgrade the squad. All right, so we're going to start at the back here with our goalkeepers. Obviously, we've heard a lot about Tommy Setford getting a loan deal, so he's going to be out of our current season. And then we're left with David Raya and Kepa. So we've done one deal this summer in terms of goalkeeper, and we have brought in Meslier, who was at Leeds United. Now, my thoughts on Meslier is I think technically he's a very, very good goalkeeper. Good height, good shot stopper in most cases, and really, really good with his feet for the most part. So I see him as being a project signing in terms of I think there's enough there that's probably been spotted by the goalkeeping coaches to feel like he's got something there that they can develop for sure. And I remember seeing him or him being talked about a little while ago as someone that was really, really gifted as a goalkeeper. So it'll be kind of good to see what they can do with him. Now, I'll be very uncomfortable if we were bringing in Meslier as a backup goalkeeper to Raya. And I don't understand for the life of me why we've got a release clause in Kepa's contract for that little. Considering that's how much we paid for him, but at the end of the day, I think we could have put a higher release clause in there to warn clubs off, or at least to give us enough money to go out there and buy a different goalkeeper, an up and coming one that could be a deputy to Raya. So I don't understand the release clause personally. I think we should renegotiate that and keep Kepa at the club for a little bit longer, or we need to sort this out very quickly. So if Kepa is going to go, let's accept a bid. Let's put him out there. Let's offer him to clubs if that's what he wants to do, and let's get the situation sorted so we know exactly what we're doing here, basically. Because there's still a little bit of is Kepa staying? Is he going? A player's got a release clause. If someone pays it and agrees terms with Kepa, then you're left in a bit of a situation. So this needs to get resolved ASAP. I have no idea who the club would look at as a second choice goalkeeper, just in terms of who's out there. Haven't really done any looking around to see who could possibly come in, but it's something we need to look at. If not this season, start to look at next season because Ray is getting on. Could probably still play for quite long as a goalkeeper, but he's getting on a little bit now, just in general. All right, so that now brings us to right back. So let's talk about right back. So as far as the right backs go, I would bring this guy, Mascara, to here because he can fill in at right back. We've had Timber, who's played right back for the most of the season. He's obviously got injury issues. And then we've had Ben White that's come in and took ages for me to get back up to speed. He was literally the reason why we went out of the FA Cup. He made some horrendous mistakes in that game. But Ben White up to speed is a quality player. But can we rely on him? I don't know. He's had loads and loads of injury issues since he's been at Arsenal. So I think he could be someone that we need to move on from, or we need to change his role in the team and say, okay, Ben, you're someone that's going to come in as like cover for the most part, but you're not someone that's going to be a regular starter that's, vying for a starting spot with Timber or Mosquera. And we know Mosquera, first season, this is not his specialized position, so he needs to improve, especially against like the tricky wingers we saw with Scalia in the Champions League final. He was at fault for the goal. Still needs to learn a lot at this position. So this is a position that we could actually improve on. So obviously we've been linked with Ezri Konsa as well as someone that could possibly come in here and, fill in a role and do a job. And then that would allow us to have cover at centre back and also at right back as well. Now, I'm not totally sold on Ezri Konsa being the answer. I would much more like to see someone that's a little bit more fleet-footed. Someone that you could be like, you know what, right back is his specialist position, but you can also play at centre back as well, rather than the other way around. Because I just think when you go into the latter stages of different competitions and you come up against the trickier guys, having a guy that's generally playing centre back is not the answer there, because you can get undone by one thing and then all of a sudden you're chasing a game, which is exactly what happened to us last game. So I'd like to see a specialist right back come in if need be, or we just turn around and say we keep what we've got, basically. So I'd rather a right back came in that wasn't necessarily a centre back at first, basically. So someone that's specialised to the role, because at the moment, every single position, most of these guys are all centre backs. They're all centre backs, basically. So yeah, that's right back position. So I don't think we need to do anything specifically, but if we are going to do something, let's get a specialised right back in. At centre back, okay, so we now know, and I'll probably move Mascara here because that's his preferred position. We now know that Saliba has got an injury, so he's going to miss most of the start of the season. Now, I don't think Mikel Arteta is comfortable enough with any one of these guys to stick him in at centre back for a prolonged period of time. So I know I've said that I would prefer a specialised right back, but if he did go and get someone like Konsa, I could understand it. I could definitely understand it. But in an ideal world, I'd want a specialised right back as an understudy to Duran Timber. But if he did have to go and get a centre back, I would totally understand it. I would not be too upset at that at all, because I'll be able to understand why. Now we've got Mascara, we've got Saliba, so we've got good centre back partnerships. But barring that Saliba is not fit, I would, you know what? Honestly, I'd probably still bring in another centre back, someone that doesn't necessarily need loads and loads of game time, someone that is a specialised centre back, and someone that just plays centre back, someone that's really good at playing centre back. I don't want someone that's a right back centre back hybrid. I want someone that's just the centre back. And I heard John Stones is available. So if John Stones is available, I think that would be a perfect signing for Arsenal. Got loads of experience. Obviously played in the Premier League for years and years and years, and someone that doesn't necessarily need loads and loads of game time at his age. So he'll be a perfect person to come in and really challenge the likes of William Saliba and Gabriel as well for that centre back starting berth as well. Okay, so centre back, we pretty much got it locked, providing that everyone's fit. But obviously, if Saliba's injured, and just in general anyway, I would like to see someone come in just as a little bit of additional cover, because that was the reason why we won the league last season. So why not let us just build on that and make sure that we stay ahead of the game in terms of being the best defense in the league. So I don't want us to rest on our laurels, and I don't want us to think, oh yeah, we were the best defense last season, it's going to translate into a new season. No, we need competition for places. We need people to be on their toes, basically. So that's what I would do at centre back. Left back, I think this is pretty much the one position that I'm pretty comfortable with. I think we got Calafiori here, who I expect next season, injury permitting, to have an absolute blinder, because when Calafiori's fit, he is such a good player. He can literally do what he normally does and drift into here and occupy spaces. He can get forward a lot of the time as well and cause confusion. Having him in this area is so confusing for the opposition, because his runs and his timing to get into those spaces and his dribbling ability causes so much chaos for people. So I really love Calafiori as a player, and I think Nketiah is more of the player that kind of holds the true kind of left back role, where he kind of just sits in and tucks in, not so much of an inverter, but more of a traditional left back getting up and down the pitch. And I think he's defensively just a little bit more solid, more of an athlete, so he can get up and down quite easily. And barring a little bit of improvement in his defensive work, he could probably be one of the best left backs in the league, to be honest, just true left back. But if you want that Stardust, Calafiori's your man, because I feel like he can do the role of getting around the outside, which obviously we're going to need if we bring in someone like Morgan Rogers as well. All right, so that's the back four. We've got that pretty much covered, and we obviously got Miles that can drop into here if we need additional cover. He can do that quite well. So we'll bring Miles back. Okay, defensive midfield. So there's been a lot of talk about bringing in someone in addition to what we've got already. And I say defensive midfield, but I'd probably say these guys are more box-to-box midfielders and a defensive midfielder in there as well. So I think we need one additional profile. And I think Bruno Guimaraes is that profile. So let's stick him in here. I think if and when we get Bruno, he would be the perfect addition because he's that one thing we're missing a little bit. I think Declan Rice, for all his capabilities, is a fantastic world class midfielder, but I think the only thing that's missing from his game is being able to pass. Being able to pass in that final third to link, to put through those little through balls once he gets up the pitch. And he's a little bit limited in terms of obviously the goal scoring and the assist making. Most of these assists comes from corners. So there's a lot of chance creation in his game, but a lot of it comes from set pieces. So I want open play creation, and Bruno's your man. Creates a lot of chances, can play 6, can play 8, can crash the box, can finish, can do pretty much everything. So Bruno added to this team would absolutely complete this midfield, and I think this would be the best midfield in the league, if not joint best with City, because obviously they got the likes of Rodri, who's absolutely fantastic. And then that brings me on to Miles, who is, back in the last season had a really, really great breakthrough season. I love Miles, love his energy and what he brings to the team. And I think there's so much more that he can give to this team as he learns the role even more. And then finally, we've got Zubamendi. So I did a video recently and I said Zubamendi is going to have an absolutely amazing season. So if you haven't seen that, go and watch that video. So I detail exactly why Zubamendi is going to have a good season, and I say what his strengths are and why he is the best midfielder in this team. And the reason why I say that is because of up here. See, midfielders, it's all up here. What you know up here is way more important than your physicality and running power for the most part, because you don't really need all of that if you got it up here. If you know where to position yourself, you know when to pass, when to hold on to the ball, when to slow the game down, the game just comes easy to you. I think last season, Zubamendi had to understand certain things about the league and what demands it needed from you. When you were when it's your first season, it's really really difficult to understand where you need to be. How much running you have to do, what the opposition is capable of. But I think now he's in that space where it's second season time. He understands the demands of the Premier League. He's been rested by Spain, thank goodness, because he's got Rodri in his team, who is the only midfielder in the 6th role that's better than him in world football. So he's the second best 6 in the world. We've got that. So really and truly, he is that guy that plays in that role, and he needs people ahead of him that's going to do what they need to do. So if we got to play that extra 20 mil, 30 mil for someone like Bruno Guimaraes, please go and pay it seriously, because we're going to get that money back when we win trophies. So if that's what it takes, Bruno would absolutely complete our midfield, and it will complement the likes of Zubamendi and Rice, and it will give the opportunity for certain guys to not load up on so many minutes. So you've seen Rice last couple of games; he's literally been run out on his feet. So we definitely need this midfield. This would be perfect. And if it costs 80 mil to go and get Bruno out of Newcastle, please go and get him. That would absolutely complete our midfield. All right, so we're going to move on to our left side. So we've got the man here, Leandro Trossard, or Bossard, as I like to call him. He's left now. He was absolutely phenomenal in his last season, but still quite inconsistent. So we have just heard, we got a big here we go from Fab, that Christos Zolis has come in. Now he's a project player for me. I see him as someone that's coming into the team. I see him battling for places with the likes of Martinelli, who I'm going to do a video on soon. I do not believe we should get rid of Martinelli at all. I think we put a lot of work and effort. So the last thing we want to do is do the whole slot machine thing where we put so much effort into a player, teach him so much, and someone else reaps the benefits. I think Martinelli is about to explode. And I think if we start playing more expansive football, you'll see the best of him. And if the competition around him improves, you'll also see the best of him as well. But ultimately, I think the role Martinelli will end up doing is this role as a striker one day. Hopefully Mikel's watching this and he sees it, because Martinelli's literally made to be a striker. But that's another story. So we got Christos Zolis in, had an amazing season last season in the Belgian Pro League, lit it up. Assists, goals, everything you want, creating chances, etc., taking corners. He does it all. Typical Mikel Arteta player. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So we're gonna see if he's able to translate that into the Premier League. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit difficult, so we don't want to put too much pressure on him. So I understand being linked with this guy, Morgan Rogers, who are apparently stepping up our efforts for, which I agree with. I think Morgan Rogers on the left gives you something different, gives you a little bit of stardust, gives you the ability to be in a position where you have someone on the left hand side that can dribble, you have someone that can beat a man, but you also have someone that can cut in, which we've lacked a little bit in a lot of games. Guys, someone that's going to be able to go both ways, cut in, aim one for the top corner, do things that defenders generally can't stop because we're a little bit one-dimensional on that side. So we'll have Martinelli, who's really good going up and down, and getting to about the edge of the box area and then laying it back for someone to cross it in. Fantastic. We've got Zolis that can go both ways, both-footed, can shoot on both feet, and then we got Rogers, who is absolutely tricky in terms of going both ways as well, and can rifle one in the top corner with his right foot. Good mix for me. Okay, we're going to come into the middle of the park. So obviously we got Eze, we got Odegaard, and we got Ethan Nwaneri. Now I believe Eze will have a better season next season because he'll understand the role a lot more, and Mikel Arteta trusts him a little bit more defensively. I still think he needs to improve certain aspects of his game, because there's a lot that sometimes I look at Eze and I'm like, there's so much more you can give. There's so much more you can do. There's so much more in there. And I think someone needs to shake him and say, enjoy the game. Don't worry if you give the ball away. Don't look so serious. Just enjoy the damn game. Act like you deserve to be there. Get on the ball. Ask for the ball. Demand the ball. This guy needs to demand the ball. He's absolutely amazing in possession. He loses the ball sometimes, but just keep giving it back to him. Keep giving it back to him. He's absolutely amazing in terms of his technical ability, but he needs to rely on it more. He needs to understand that if I'm about to lose the ball, I can buy a little free kick. He just needs to learn the game just a little bit more in terms of being able to protect himself on the pitch and enjoying it more in terms of losing possession. Protect yourself while you're losing possession. If you're about to lose possession, protect the ball a little bit more. Get to a place where you can buy a foul. You can make the defender, whoever's trying to tackle you, foul you before they can actually get the ball. Shield the ball a little bit better, so you don't have so much transitional moments off the back of you. And enjoy your football. Believe in yourself a little bit more. Understand that you deserve to be on that pitch. Play with a bit more of a smile on your face as well, because you've got everything, bro. You've got everything. Someone needs to tell me that. And then we've got Martin Odegaard, who obviously there was a lot of rumours about the captain Martin Odegaard possibly being sold, which I was like, Odegaard being sold? Absolutely not. There's no way Mikel Arteta is going to sell Martin Odegaard, and a few reasons. One, Odegaard is absolutely fantastic. We saw it in the World Cup. Don't have to say nothing about his performances. Absolutely fantastic. Two, we weren't even playing the type of football that Martin Odegaard would thrive in last season. So how would you expect him to have great performances where there's no runners, when everything's about, you know, taking a lead and then sitting back? That's not that's not where you find guys like Martin Odegaard thriving. Give him runners. Give him somewhat of a transitional game at times. Let him feed people through balls. That's what he's good at. So Martin Odegaard is not going anywhere. Model captain, model professional, understands Arteta's tactics to a T. That takes time to feed into players. So Arteta's not going to start a new project with another attacking midfielder. And like, who out there is even better than Odegaard in terms of what he does? Like, there's not really too many players that can play that role as good as he can, and it'll probably cost 100 million. So let's just keep Martin where he is. Absolutely phenomenal player. Again, we'll have a good season next season with the shift of play and the players that we're going to bring in. Ethan Ranieri. I believe Ethan is one of the players where we have to trust him a lot more. Ethan and Miles came through pretty much at the same time. Miles has had a different type of trajectory to Ethan, just all based on the fact that players learn their roles at different paces. Their roles are very different. So the attacking midfielder role in Arsenal is very different from the role that Miles plays. So you got to give this guy some time. Their bodies develop different as well. I know Ethan's had some issues with, growing pains and stuff like that. So give the boy time to develop. Not everybody needs to develop at the age of 18, 19. These are wonder kids that are developing like that at that time. So give him time to develop. Give him time to learn the role. I thought it was a mistake to loan him last season because I think there's games where he could have started for us. I think there's games where he could have affected the game even better than some other people did. Notably, the FA Cup games that we had, he could have played on the right side instead of Max. So I think Ethan should stay and give him as many minutes as possible. And I think as we change our approach into more of an advancing team in terms of ball playing, then guys like Ethan will get more game time because he should be winning more games with a comfortable margin, which will allow you then to bring in guys like Ethan, give him 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here, rather than giving them the fives or 0 minutes at all, basically. So sometimes we create our own problems in terms of not killing off games. So we move to the right side. So this is the side that we're pretty much stacked in, basically. We're stacked all the way, providing that Saka stays fit. Do we need to say anything more about Bukayo Saka? He's just quality, effective, knows what he's doing. To have that brain at that age and to have done what he's already done in the game, phenomenal. We just need to wrap him up in cotton wool and make sure he's good. Achilles injuries are never, never, never great to nurse. So again, we need to wrap him up in cotton wool. Hopefully, again, with Ethan back in the team, we can move Ethan here sometimes if Saka's not fit to play every single game, and then mix the minutes up between these four guys, basically, at certain points. And then, again, Ethan can get some game time in and around here as well. The other guy that can play here as well that I didn't mention, we've got Mikel Moreno that can obviously drop in there. And I put him in a bit of a mix of the two, and I'll talk about him a little bit when I speak about the strikers as well. But we got Noni, who I think gets unnecessary flack a lot of times. He does a lot of stuff well, but give him an obvious choice in the middle. Give him an obvious assist. Make it very easy, or give him the directive just to flash the ball across the goal at the end of the day and make his decision-making process a lot easier, because guys like Noni Madueke, what I like to call probably like late bloomers. So it takes them a lot longer to understand the game. It took Salah until he was about 25 before he started to be Salah. Salah at Chelsea was not the Salah that you see now that was playing for Liverpool. So guys like Noni Madueke, you got to understand the profile of the player and how he develops, basically. Very similar to Martinelli in some games where he does everything, but just that final product is not quite there. And we've seen it with players like Dembele. Do you know what I mean? Late developers, late at understanding the game, late at when it all clicks. So keep putting effort into these guys. They will get it at some point. So Noni does a lot of things well. He's absolutely rapid, amazing athlete, gets up and down the pitch. Defensively, he's improved so much more than when he was at Chelsea. and he's a perfect understudy. And then mix that in with Max, who I feel was rushed a little bit in terms of some of the appearances that he made. Max is not as developed as, let's say, someone like Rio Ingamoa that plays for Liverpool, in terms of how much game time he's had, exposure, training with the first team, etc. So he's still learning the game. He's still trying to understand the game. I think some of the performances that he put in last season, parts of it were absolutely amazing, and there was other parts where he's still a 15, 16-year old still learning the game. So he's not going to be able to get up and down the pitch as quickly as some of these guys in terms of the amount of stamina they might have. So he needs to catch up a little bit. He's not going to be able to make the right decision every single time. So again, let's get in games where we're leading enough to be able to throw these guys on and them not have so much pressure on them in terms of having to deliver. So they're learning. Has everything, this guy. Has everything. Shooting, he can dribble, he can buy a foul. He can do pretty much everything on the pitch at such a young age. But we have to give him exposure. We have to give him games, and we have to make sure that they're the right types of games, and he understands what he needs to do. So he's continuously learning as he's going through. But this season is his actual breakout season. Last season was just a taste. He's probably learned so much, and he's going to put that into action for this season. So I think we got the right mix here with the support of Ethan to come through as well. Now up front. Now we got talk of Julian Alvarez possibly coming in as well. So we know Gabriel Jesus is out of the project, and I see Jesus as a market opportunity for a lot of teams out there, providing that he can guarantee his fitness. Honestly, I don't see any reason why Gabriel Jesus should not be going to, let's say, for instance, like a Newcastle. Shouldn't be going to somewhere like, possibly, depending on how ambitious they're going to be, somewhere like Nottingham Forest. Like, there's so many places that this guy can go, and especially he can go abroad as well, like AC Milan. There's so many teams out there that could do a player like Gabriel Jesus, even somewhere like Atletico. Basically, the pace of the game in Spain is a little bit slower, so they can benefit of someone like Gabriel Jesus because he's a top quality player, can play all across the front line, absolutely gifted technically, can change a game in an instant. But for this team and where we're going now, he just doesn't have the right profile for us in terms of how dynamic we want to be. But still a very, very good player. So I think that's a great market opportunity for someone. And if anyone needs someone with experience, Gabriel Jesus has 4 Premier League titles underneath his belt from what I remember. So he's the perfect guy. He was the reason why this project has turned out the way it is. Because without Jesus, we wouldn't be where we are right now in terms of the effort that he put in and where we got to in all those seasons where we got so close. Okay, so when Jesus leaves, we're going to have these three. Now, this guy's a hybrid, so he can sometimes slot into midfield. And again, I keep talking about players that understand the game, that their mind is so good. 3 steps ahead of everyone else, knows where they need to go. Mikel Moreno. So he's someone that you don't need to give him so many games. He can pretty much come in as a sub. He can start some games. He's someone that, yeah, he just fits in where he fits in, basically. So type of guy, great type of guy to have around, good mentality. And again, someone just come off the back of an injury as well. So he'll be able to understand it if game time wasn't at a premium, basically. So in effect, we've got Gyökeres and we got Havertz. So, Gyökeres, we know what he does. We know what he guarantees. Goals, goals, goals. Feed him through balls. Play expansive football. You'll get the best out of him. And then Havertz, again, will run for the cause. Technically, absolutely gifted. Still parts of the game that he needs to improve. His ball striking. His ability to know when to strike the ball and wanted to strike the ball. Because I think he's got that in him. He's definitely got that in him. So we've got a good blend here. Add in someone like Julian Alvarez would be fantastic because then we could be like, okay, Moreno, you drop into here. We don't necessarily need you up front so much. And then that gives us the option of having 3 strikers, which I think is perfect. There's loads of games that we're going to play, and doing something like PSG do, where they give their guys limited minutes and don't overcook them throughout a season, is for me fantastic. So Julian Alvarez will be more than welcome to join this team, but I'm not sure if that means that someone else needs to go or Mikel's going to end up being in a place where he's like, it's looking a bit stacked up front. But what I will say is if he comes, I'd rather have a bigger squad than a smaller squad, because we saw even last season with all the players we had, we still had some injury scares and we were still light in certain places. So that is my analysis of the squad. I think if all these signings come off, I think we'll be absolutely super stacked and ready. There's still a couple of problem areas, be it the goalkeeper area. That can upgrades can happen here. We can add another centre back in here. We can get a right back if we decide to move on from Ben White. That's a specialist and can stay fit as well. Bruno would be a absolutely amazing addition, and will complete our midfield. Attacking midfield wise, I think we've got everything that we need. We've even got Morgan Rogers that can drop into this attacking midfield area as well, and play as a 10. And then out wide, I think we're pretty much stacked out wide as well if we get all these signings over the line. And if we get Julian Alvarez, I think going forward and defending, I think we'll finally be able to say that we've got joint best, if not the best team in the league. So previously, we have been operating from a position where we haven't had the best team in the league. We haven't been the best team in the league. We've had the best squad last season, but we didn't have the best team. I want to see how well we do when we've actually got the best team in the league. Because I think we've got the best manager in the league. So if we give him the best team, it should be a no-brainer that we win the league, basically. So that's what I want to see. So let's see what happens in the transfer window. Let's see how much of these additional signings we can get across the line, and let's see the profiles of players that Mikel actually brings in, and who ends up leaving. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no one apart from the people on this side. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Good to hear your thoughts. And yeah, let's get the conversation going. And I'll see you guys in the next one.